Claude Opus 5, Kimi Code, and Codex all claim to be the best agent for writing your code. I ran all three through 5 tests using only what Anthropic, Moonshot, and OpenAI have each published, and kept score the entire way. One of them wins the benchmark that matters most, another is the only one you're allowed to run on your own hardware, and the tool I'd default to isn't decided by either fact alone. Test 1, Cost and Token Efficiency. Run an agent dozens of times a day, and a small price gap on every call adds up fast. Claude Opus 5 charges $5 per million input tokens and $25 per million output tokens, the same rate Anthropic charged for its previous Opus model. Kimi Code's K2.7 code model runs 95 cents in and $4 out per million tokens, with cash hits near 19 cents. Codex skips a pure per token model for most people. Kimi Code lands 5 to 6 times cheaper per token than Claude and 3 to 4 times cheaper than that last Codex rate. Codex's flat plan still buys predictability if you're not running agents nonstop. Kimi Code wins this round on price alone. That puts Kimi Code at 1, Claude Opus 5 at 0, and Codex at 0. There is a real caveat on cost and token efficiency worth naming before we score it. It's bundled into ChatGPT at $20 a month for Plus and $200 a month for Pro, with its last confirmed API rate at $1.75 in and $14 out. My name is Brian and I review AI software for a living. Price is only half the story though, since none of this matters if a model can't finish the job. Test 2, Coding Benchmarks. SWE Bench Pro is the one benchmark suite all 3 companies reported for these exact versions, making it the cleanest shared comparison point available. Claude Opus 5 scored 79.2% there. Kimi Code's K2.7 code model scored 58.6%, and Codex's GPT 5.3 Codex scored 56.8%. Claude also posts 96% on the older SWE Bench verified test against Kimi's 60.4%. Codex has no clearly confirmed score there, so I won't invent one. None of these numbers came from one neutral group testing all 3 side by side, since each company measured its own model and Codex leans into tests like Terminal Bench instead. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Developers shipping production code fill a 20-point gap fast since a failed fix costs real time. That gives us Claude Opus 5.1, Kimi Code 1, and Codex 0. Claude Opus 5 wins this round clearly, but capability alone won't help if it feels slow to use. That's more than a 20-point lead for Claude on the one benchmark every company actually reported, while Kimi and Codex sit less than 2 points apart. Test 3, Speed and Latency. A slower model still costs you time across a day of repeated calls. Tokens per second measures how fast a reply streams, and time to first token measures how long you wait before it starts, and the two don't always move together. Independent tracking puts Claude's most recent measured generation at 46 tokens per second, with about 1.5 seconds of latency. Kimi's K2.6 model hits 77 tokens per second on its fastest host, but averages closer to 2.5 seconds on other hosts, since it's the only open weight model of the 3, and its speed depends on who's hosting it. No confirmed current speed number exists for Claude Opus 5 or Codex specifically, so I won't guess at 1. I'm calling this round a tie, since the gap is real, but depends more on hosting than the model itself. Claude Opus 5 stays at 1, Kimi Code stays at 1, Codex stays at 0, and none of it matters if the model runs out of room to hold your project. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Test 4. Context and output limits. Hit a context ceiling mid-task, and you're stuck re-explaining your own codebase to the agent. Claude Opus 5 runs a flat 1 million token context window as both its default and only size, with a max output of 128,000 tokens. Codex's GPT 5.3 AI Codex totals 400,000 tokens, split into 272,000 input and 128,000 output, with pricing that doubles on input past that line. Kimi Code's K2.7 code model runs a 262,000 token window. A single file or one scoped bug fix never hits any of these ceilings. Claude Opus 5 takes this round outright, putting it at 2, Kimi Code at 1, and Codex at 0. Though none of it matters if you're not allowed to run the tool at all. Claude's window comes out to roughly 2.5 times Codex's and about 4 times Kimi's, which matters once you're feeding it an entire repository, or running one long session for hours. Final test, deployment, and modality. A data residency rule, an air-gap network, or a fixed infrastructure budget can rule out 2 of these 3 tools no matter what the scoreboard says. Claude Opus 5 stays closed weight, available natively and across AWS Bedrock, Google Cloud, and Microsoft Azure, plus a computer use mode for direct screen navigation. Codex stays closed weight too. It runs through a CLI, IDE extensions, and an isolated cloud sandbox that reads your repo, edits files, and opens a pull request on its own. Kimi Code is the only one you can run with no vendor in the middle, while Claude spreads across the widest set of major clouds, and Codex leans hardest into an agent that acts entirely on its own. Self-hosting Kimi isn't a casual weekend project, since the weights add up to roughly 595 gigabytes. Kimi Code takes this round since it's the only one offering something structurally different, not a cheaper version of the same idea. That leaves the final score at Claude Opus 5 2, Kimi Code 2, and Codex 0. Kimi Code splits in 2 instead, with a free MIT-licensed CLI for editors like Zed and JetBrains, plus the open-weight K2.7 code model underneath it, self-hostable through VLLM or SGLang, free at any normal scale. Claude Opus 5 won the benchmark and context tests outright, the clear pick when raw capability matters most, and its weakness is the highest per token price of the 3. Kimi Code won on cost and stands alone as the only self-hostable, open-weight option, and its weakness is a real benchmark gap behind Claude, plus speed that shifts by host. Codex never won a round outright, but never fell far behind. Its identity is the tightest sandbox to pull request workflow built into ChatGPT, with no standout win and no self-hosting path. If quality and a huge context window matter most, Claude Opus 5 is your default, since it backs that up with the widest confirmed lead here. If you're budget conscious, need to self-host, or you're stuck under a compliance rule blocking third-party APIs, Kimi Code is your lane. If you live inside ChatGPT and want an agent that reads your repo and hands back a pull request without managing infrastructure, Codex fits that workflow. If someone handed me 0 context and asked which to start with, I'd choose Claude Opus 5. The decisive reason is that its benchmark and context advantages are the widest, most clearly confirmed differences here, and most people watching this aren't under a self-hosting requirement that would push them toward Kimi instead. One thing nobody talks about enough is how fine print changes the real cost of 2 of these tools. Codex doubles its input price and raises its output price by half once you cross 272,000 input tokens in one request. And Kimi Code's self-hosting option sounds free, right up until you look at the roughly 595 gigabytes of weights you'd need to run yourself. If price and self-hosting are what pulled you toward Kimi Code, the next video breaking down Kimi Code against Codex for teams that already ruled out Claude on costs is where to go next.